I'm Jeff Schwartz of Schwartz Performance. This is our January 2016 update. You may have seen this 13,000 mile 78 Nova last month. We've just about finished up the twin turbo system. Small block Chevy, Turbonetics turbos. This thing's really going to be awesome. We fabricated intercooler and all the piping. Everything's TIG welded stainless steel. We fabbed the turbo manifolds and so forth, and the exhaust, which I'll show you in a minute. Really going to be a fun car, and can't wait to see this rip down the road. Under here we've got the exhaust. Per our standard procedure at Schwartz Performance, we've got V-band clamps up at the top where it collects to the header. We've got expansion joints here, and then another V-band here. This gentleman wanted cutouts. We are going to put a turnout on this to get the heat out from under the car. In this case we used MagnaFlow stainless steel mufflers. The entire exhaust is mandrel bent stainless steel, 3 series, along with TIG welded connections. The tips on the back wanted the sleeper look, so they're kind of flush with the bottom of the car. You don't see that there's a dual 3-inch exhaust under this car when it's on the ground. This is that 82 S10 that we've looked at throughout the past year. This thing is finally ready to go for final bodywork and paint. We've done all the fabrication. We've touched up all the body lines on the reproduction things that didn't line up quite right, and everything is now really fit nicely. The door gaps are good, everything's good, and looking forward to seeing this thing completed and running down the road. The 73 Cutlass is coming along. We're mocking up the brake system right now, and these are Bear brakes, the 6P system. They have an internal parking brake, and this is a full floating rear end like we always use on our chassis. So we've got this all jigged up now. So you guys with GMA bodies from 73 to 77, we've got you covered now. We've been working on this 66 Nova for a little while now, doing a heart transplant and some suspension work. This came in with some aftermarket suspension that had really short shocks, as is typical with every other aftermarket suspension other than Schwartz Performance. It only had 500 miles on it, and it had bottomed out so much that it actually cracked the upper shock mounts out of the chassis. So we welded those up, re-engineered the front suspension, made new lower control arms so we could fit a longer shock in there with more travel. And now this thing's going to go down the road really nice and smooth. We also painted the subframe the candy apple red. It was painted silver before, and the owner didn't really care for that look. We've got it all painted candy apple red underneath, including the brand new Moser 9-inch that we put in there. Everything's looking good. This one has an LSA engine, 585 horsepower from the ZL1 Camaro. This thing's awesome. We're going to fabricate a really cool engine cover that comes around and covers the area in between the valve covers and the blower. And this one we're going for kind of a flat black, satin black look, and it'll look really mean and sinister. We've also upgraded the brakes on this one to Bear Pro Plus brakes, 14-inch diameter front and back. And this thing's going to fly, a lightweight Nova with this much motor. It's going to be a great car. We refabricated the exhaust as well with Stainless Works headers, and we've got all the materials from Stainless Works. Got V-band clamps, flex joint here. Some of this exhaust was here already, so the coated parts were here already, and then we had to adapt that to the LSA engine, and then the Stainless Works mufflers. Again, we've got V-band clamps here, and then the tailpipe. This customer wanted the pipes to go straight out the back, so we've got a polished stainless steel tip here that points straight out the back. This LSA engine requires both a fuel feed line and a return line, and in this case we fabricated metal lines. Since these are running very near the headers, this is actually a few inches away. We didn't want any type of fabric or rubber line that would potentially burn from the header heat. This is actually several inches away, and we've got plenty of clearance for the tire to come in here. The headers will get ceramic coated, and they won't reflect much heat at all, and these lines will stay nice and cool. We could also put a sleeve over there if there was any concern about that, but we don't have any concern. It's plenty of airflow past here, and like I said, the headers will get ceramic coated. Here's the chassis for the Raybestos 69 Mustang. It's all powder coated, nice satin black and silver highlights on all the suspension components. This one's got IRS. We fitted the RideTech shock absorbers they're going to be using on this car, and we'll be autocrossing this throughout the year. Our schedule will be up soon on our website. We are doing a new event called Road Trip Cars and Cones. It's kind of like Autocross Week. Drag Week was drag racing from track to track and racing and then driving on the road. This is the same type of deal. Looking forward to that for 2016. This is our C10 shop truck. It's really going to be a great truck. I can't wait to drive it. As you can see, we got some rust issues here. He's cut the old rocker out. Not much left of that. And then this is the new rocker that'll get welded in there. We also have an entire new floor pan going in here, and we've got a little cab corner work. Should be really nice and solid once we do this. By the way, this was a Tennessee car that was relatively rust-free compared to what it would be here in Illinois. So looking forward to getting this one on the road. This is one of the 70 Chevelles we're working on, convertible. This one came to us for a chassis install and an engine, and then went away. And when that other shop went out of business, it came back to us. So we're finishing it up. We've redone some of the bodywork, and as you can see, it's now painted. This one's getting white SS stripes. A black car, everything's got to be perfect, and this thing looks perfect. What we've got up front is a LS3 engine, along with the Bayer 14-inch brakes. We've smoothed the firewall. This one's getting a vintage air unit mounted up under the dash. It gives it a nice smoother look out here when you get rid of the factory AC box and move that inside. We use vintage air on all of our builds, and it's a really good product. This 67 Corvette convertible, we've done the wide body conversion on. The chassis is now powder coated. All the aluminum pieces, control arms, spindles, etc., later model Corvette components that we use on the Corvette chassis has all been polished perfectly, and we're assembling that. And pretty soon this will be in paint, and it'll be mounted on the chassis and driving down the road. This one's getting a metallic silver with a red interior. It should look awesome. We showed you the 68 Camaro that we're building last month that had a factory 6-cylinder in it originally, and had some really shoddy workmanship on the quarter panel. A partial quarter was overlapped the original metal, and then had a couple of tack welds along here, and it had like a boatload of Bondo here. So we've since removed that entire quarter panel up to the factory seam, welded it at the factory seam completely. We don't like just spot welding that because these cars, we put more horsepower in them. We also put a more rigid chassis in it, but we don't want any risk of anything cracking, so we weld that solid, and then everything's metal finished real nice. We had to modify this aftermarket quarter panel. They don't fit right, so we had to modify and tweak it to get it to fit the taillight panel right. And it's looking really good. We're in the process of mini tubbing it. But we've also modified the door gaps here and got that working pretty good. most of these quarter panels, the bend angle here is not quite right, so you have to tweak and rework that. And we're going to fit the 3 35/30 BF Goodrich tires on this car. When we dissected the 68 Camaro, this is the type of workmanship we found. Pop rivets on top of like rusted metal, brazes, a bunch of little pieces stuck in here. And that was all bondoed over. Here's another project that just arrived, a 73 Camaro. We'll tell you more about it later, but it is getting a Schwartz G-Machine chassis, of course. Here's a new arrival, a 75 Cutlass. This car actually ran the TV show and the event called Bull Run in 2010. So if you hadn't seen that show, Google it. Bill Goldberg, our friend, hosted the show, and it was a lot of fun, kind of like Cannonball Run on steroids a little bit. I can't tell you exactly what we're doing, but it's going to be pretty good when we're done. Here's another new arrival. We've got a 67 Corvette Coupe here, and we're doing a wide body conversion similar to that convertible I just showed you. This one's been off the road since 1971, and the owner has owned it since 1969. That's pretty cool. Factory 427 car. This one's getting a big block, a Schwartz G-Machine chassis, as well as the wide body fenders like we did on that other car.